Welcome back with my new video, and today I will discuss about the MVVM patterns within APIs. So guys, look at once this. I have I have this list. This is the list of the API, and that I just displaying the data from the API, and that this is an API, and right, and we have the news API, and that API will display the name and descriptions I have in this table list, right? And before implementing how I have implemented this uh, MVVM patterns with the APIs. So guys, before I start the demo, and need to be understand what is the MVVMs and how it is working, right? So that's why I will discuss about a few things. Let's do the things right. The MVPM is content with the model view and v model. We all knows that that's objects, right? The view and view model and model. What the purpose of using this? This is because we are using this because of the few things like it is very fast uses and displaying the data, and view controller is totally depend on the view models, and view model contents. View model is basically is the container of the all models, right? It presents its data binding for with the view model is the data binding with the view, and every business logic data will be the separate with from the view. So that's why we are using this, and why we have developed to provide the separation of concerns. You can also see that I have already discussed this theory in my previous video. You can also learn from theirs, and to allow the developers design, and here's it can be to allow the developers design workflow when the UI XML is not tightly coupled to the code behind. Because UI XML, we most of the applications which is XML based, right? And we can say like that the desktop application as well. Desktop Most of the desktop application is using the MVVM pattern, because the all the data, yeah, all the business logic will be separate from the view controller, from the UI, right? That's why the XML application, yeah, XML, yeah, web application is totally, most of the application is totally depend on the MVVM patterns, yeah, architecture is following. So that patterns, yeah, that architecture is also need to be implemented in UI in iOS and Android applications. Actually, this is very fast executions of API, and it also the increase the application testability, increase the maintainability, right? And testability. These are the advantage, and what the other things, the component to be the separated, yeah, component to be swapped without affecting the alls, right? And internal implementers to be changed, and the component to be work independently, and isolate is the testings. So these are the features uh, to use in MVVMs. So let's I have I have already created the API with the list of this, right? How I have done. So I want to save your times. That's why I have already created in my in my applications, and this is the design pattern, right? This is the model. Before doing this, we need to be so that the name and descriptions and URL, these are the object of the source basically contain the all objects, collection of the objects. These I need to be separate of every object into the models, right? So that's why we need to be create models. The model basically contain the this is the news model. I have this class type of the codable because I need to be I will I will convert it to be the JSON decoders. That's why the code should be the codables. That's why I have used here to codable data, right? So the name and descriptions, how I get from here name and descriptions, right? You can see name and description. I can also use the URL, category, language and country, but this is the this containing the large of strings. That's why I have used the descriptions. Okay, name and descriptions. A name can be initialized and description can be initialized. The name, I have used the self is used basically that object which is contained in the class. That's why is the self is used into the initializations, right? And another is the source class, source model class, because why use the another class? Because the all object model need to be contained into the array. So that is that is point of that can be point will be noted. The sources is the array list and this is the model. So I need to be all object into the source. That's why I need to be another object, yeah, another object class, that is the source model. And this is the source, this is the sources variable, and that contain to the all object of the news model into the array list, right, into the array list of the source. That array list will be initialized. I have initialized this, right? I think you got my point. And I have news model, I have source model. Now I need to be called the web services. So that's why I have created the web services objects. This is the web services and that class is related to the NS object model. So this class of the functions, this class of the function need to be called from other classes. That's why I have used the share instance. Share instance basically call to the functions instantly using the another class, right? That's why I have used the share instance. So share instance always contain a single instance into any class type, right? So I think you got my points. And I have created a function. That function is named get news details, and that get news details function containing the completion handler. And that is why we have used the completion handler. I need to be written what the data is accessed and what the data is not accessed, right? If the data is not accessed, it means I getting the error. Yeah, if data is accessed, it means I will get the data. I have the right URLs. So that's why I use the variable. Yeah, I use completions, right? And that escaping, what the escaping use? Escaping is used basically to access the object, yeah, that ox and that access the array, yeah, whatever we need to be accessed outside of the class. That's why we are using the escaping. You need to be noted the escaping of objects, right? This is the news model and this is the array. Both are optional. Both are optional because I need, it could be the nil, it could be the data. That's why I have used this. And I have a URL. That URL is this. This is the URL I need to be accessed. So that's why URL string and copy and paste that URL. Now I need to be check that URL is right or not, right? That's why I have used the URL and string. You all knows this, how to access. Now I have used the URL. If that URL is not right, that return will be print, other codes will not be executed because the guard statement is working here, right? then then URL session, I have used the URL session. So what the functionality of URL session? URL session is used to access the data from an API, from the web services. That's why we are using the URL session for executing the API to convert into the data. That's why I'm using the URL sessions, right? And if I get an error, right, with the URL, and these are the return type, right? And I also I want to discuss also the in statement. Why we are using the in? Because if you are if you haven't written some variable, yeah, some objects, you need to be initialized in function, always written the any any return types, right? Yeah, it can be any data, it can be written any response, it can be written and the errors, right? That's if error is if there is an error, then I have written the completion with the data will be the nil, error is the error, right? And now I have used also the guard statement here. If the data is there, then do statement, do and while statement is, if the condition is true, then the do will be executed, right? I have created a news details. I have created news detail array that contain the news model. Every model, every object, you can see here every object into the news details, right? That is related to the array list of the news models. Now I need to be create a static variable that I can also that source model, the JSON decoder, the all data what we have. I have data, this is an data that I need to be convert into the JSON decoders. That's why I have used the JSON decoder and decode the all source model. You can see here what we have here. The source model basically it contains the sources what we have. Sources is here, right? And all object is here. So that's why I have called to the source models. Source model is related to the sources of all models, right? And self, I have used this content that the data will be converted into the source model and containing all the data into the source, right? Now I need to be put all the models into the news details. That's why I have used the for loop news. And services dot sources basically I have initialized here sources, right? You can go sources here, right? And now I have append all objects into the news detail array, and now I need to be completion written. Completion will be written with the data of news details and error should be nils. Now then the URL data task will be resume here, right? The web services has done, news model has done. Now I need to be called into the view with the aspect of with the aspect of the view models. What we have in the view models, now I got the view. What we are doing in the view models, I just simply work in the view model, right? I have a name and descriptions, and every news view model containing the data of the models. You can see here the all logical data will be contained into the view model, and view model provide the every model into the UI view controllers. So I think you got my point. What the depend of the UI? UI will be depend on the view model, and view model is dependently model is dependently injections to the view model, right? So I have news model. What we have the news model is, this is the model, right? And the name, the news is, if you want to access this is the name and this is the descriptions, right? Then news model has created, this is the view model, right? Now I have created the new model and view model, and now I need to be access the web services from the view. Okay, I have this ones, right? And get data, you can also create the functions that name of the get data from the services. Get data from services, I have created the share instance. I have discussed that point there, and web services is here, and with the share instance I need to be call with the get news data. This is the get news data, this is the share instance. Now the data should be the what I have written. I have written the completions with the data and errors. So that's why I have an two variable, that news and error. The news is containing the array of objects and error is the error. If I don't have any error, now error, if error equal to nil, that's I have created the news model. I have created a news model that is the array list of view model. News view model, basically this is the array list, this is the array list of view model. Alright, this is the array list of view model. Now if I have an news array list, I have written, right? I have written from here web services. I have written from completion with the completion handler, right? This is the news details, and I have written here, if there is not any error, I just written the newses. That news view model, this is type of object. What type of object I need? I need the type of object, the news model type, news view model types, right? And that is the array list of news, that all object need to be accessed one by one. So if there is an error, if there is no data, that the array list what would be? The array list would be empty. Okay, that all the things is going well, but the data is not available here, the any object is not available there. So what would be? The would be that the array of object is empty. I think you got my point. Now I have a table. You can also create the tables. The table is the news table, right? And data reload. How I have done? I have containing all the data into the news view models, and I have created the view. That's let's see. I think I just want to save your time. That's why I didn't write the all the codes manually, right? That's why it's very soon will complete it. And I have this table. You can also, this is the very easy to create the news tables, and I have initialized with the delegate and data source. I have that respond to the delegate and data source, and two variable is here into the cells. The cell is the label headline and label news descriptions, right? What we have here, what type of table? I have these tables and I have this cells. The news table view cell, I have news table view cells, and identifier is the same of news table view cells. Now I will go with into the view model, into the view controller. Now the table will be reload, and I have created them. What we have, MVVM view controller, and I have mentioned here the UI table view delegate and the UI table view data source, right? And another I have created the cells, and Sale is this is the label news I have already seen on the table sales, right? And the headline is this, and I also create the configure list of the functions that is containing the every object from news view model type, right? The news job will be containing the type of news view model, and that the label I have, this is the label headline, and dot text is the news I will call from table cells. This function will call from the table cells, and the new job is dot name and new job is dot descriptions. How I have, this is the closure type of the functions, right? And if got the data, that news model dot count, and second is the I need to be called with the sale, right? You all knows this how I will call, and news table visual is the same, and news table will type of the sales type of this. And now I have created the dictionary of static variables, and that is a news dict and news v model. This is the index path and dot draw. And now I have will call cell configurations, right? I need to be cell configuration. You can see here the cell configuration will call, and now this is the every object of the cells, and will be bind into this every cell into the table list. So I will again, I think we have covered all the things, right? all you all understand what I have done here with the MVVM and with my news API. So guys, let's run the build, and we can see here how we will call. Okay, just wait a few seconds, and table will be reload. Okay, I have this ones. This is the ABC news, right? And now I just need to be, first object is the ABC news. This is the name and description, your trusted sources, and second is the ABC news UI, and Australia most trusted sources, and Australia most trusted. It means I have done all the things, guys. I think you have understand my video, and if you have any doubt, you can comment in my video. And guys, if you like and subscribe my channel, I will motivate, and I just working hard for you all, doing and making a video, doing all the things, right? So guys, subscribe and like and comment in my video. Thank you guys, you keep watching my video. Thanks.